Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to run all the queries that we have in the cheat sheet. Remember, I gave a long list of queries that we can run based on what we were taught during the training, during the bootcamp. So we have a long list and they were all brought into the SQL server to run them to see whether they actually work. So we're going to be using the school database, as we can see here. That's the school database. Remember all the things that we talked about during the class, So we have the tables here. All of the tables are right here, as you can see. So we're going to be using the school database to run all of them. So the first query we want to run is to find all the information in the employees table. And the query to do that, if you want to return all the information, is to write the code that says select star. Star means all. Select star from dbo.employees. We all know that this is the table. So if I run that, let's see, and see what it's going to return. As you can see, it returns everything in that table. As you can see right here. You're seeing null here because that doesn't have any information. There is no data in that row or column, and that's why you're seeing null. So that is everything we have in that table, and then we can proceed to the next one. So we want to see all the employees that have permanent as their pay type ID, but we are only returning their first name. So let's run that to see what it returns. So remember, I said it's just first name that we want to run, and you can actually tweak that if you want to see, the pay type ID in front of them. So to tweak that, remember it's only the first name that I selected. So if I'm going to add the pay type ID, I'm just going to put dbo.employees, that's the table, and then I'm going to pick the column. I want to pick the column for pay type ID in the employees table. So I'm going to select that column right now. So let's try and run that again. Remember, the first one that I ran is just the first name that shows all the employees with the pay type ID that is permanent. And this is all of them. So if you want to confirm that, want to see if this is true, let's run that again. So we see here that these are all the employees that have pay type ID that is permanent. So that works. So you can always tweak and retweak your information regardless of what you started the code with. So the next one is saying that we should return specific information in a table. So this is the query. Select everything from the employees table, and we're ordering them by descending order. We have descending in the question, so we have descending in the query. So that means from the top all the way down. That is the descending, right? So let's see. Let's run that query to see that. So we are seeing all of them in descending order. We're ordering them by descending order. So we can also tweak this and pick specific information. Maybe we want to run the first name, in descending order. Let's see how that works. I'm going to put select dbo.employees, that's the table, and then let's pick their first name, So we are drilling down right now from employees in descending order. Remember, the first one that we had is select all. That's why we have all of this brought out. So we want to see just the first name in descending order. So we have that. So it picked from descending order, although this doesn't look like it's addressed. Okay, so let's add more information to that so that we can be clear. Let's pick the table again, and then from employees let's see, let's pick the agenda, and let's try and run that again to see what we have. So we still have that. So this is ordered by descending order. So we go to the next one, which says if you want to return specific information in a table in descending order, we can also use this. So here we're going to pick the first one. We try to run all of them. So right here we are picking specific information, just like I was trying to do here. So we're trying to select employee first name, employee's last name, employees pay type ID from employees, and we're ordering them by pay type ID. So we are drilling further down here. We didn't really drill down in the first one that we ran here. So we are drilling down. We are ordering them by pay type ID. Here we order them by employee ID. Yes. So if we add employee ID to the first one that we ran here, let's go ahead and add them, because I was wondering why we have this first name not well arranged. So I just figured out that we arrange them based on employee ID. So let me try and add that so we can see clearly what we are doing and be sure what we are getting from the output. So I'm going to put employee ID, and then I run that again. Let's see what we're going to get. So we have that. And if you look at the employee ID right here, so we said descending order. So we have 11250. Well, this is exactly what I was expecting to see. So 11250, 11249, 11248, 765. So this is actually what I was expecting to see in descending order. I was expecting to see that here, but I didn't get that. So yes, something was definitely missing. So try and look at your code to be sure that nothing is missing. All right, that gave us the output in descending order from the top all the way down. So let's see the second one is the same thing in descending order, but this time we are not ordering by the employee ID, we are ordering by pay type ID. So it's going to arrange this in descending order, the pay type ID in descending order. Let's run that to see. So you see the pay type ID, and then we have the P first, and then it goes to C. Right, you see, we just have two pay type ID. So it depends on what you're ordering it by. Let's move to the next one. It's quite much, but we might not be able to go through all of them, but this is just to give you an idea. And what I'm going to say is that you can copy all this query in the cheat sheet and put them in SQL Server, so you see how they come out. And you can continue to tweak and save this as a project if you want. You can actually save this as a project. To save it as a project, you can just come here and save, or you can click on File. And when you click on File, and then you can save, you can save that query like this. Click on Save SQL Query 3, blah, 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 and then save it on your computer, and you're good. So if you want to go to the next one, so we want to return specific information from the employee table, and we want to change the title right to what we want. So this is the syntax here. So we want to select the first name, the last name, department ID, the hire date, the gender, the pay type ID as employee status. So this is where the gimmick is. We want to change the column title of the pay type ID to employee status. So, and please pay attention to that when we run the query, so that you look at the title, the column title. Where we have pay type ID now is definitely going to change to employee status. We want to retrieve that from the employee table where the pay type ID is permanent. So, and we said also we want to retrieve all the information of employees that their ages are less than 50. So let's run that query to see what we get. So we have that. So all those people you are saying here, they are less than 50. Remember what I said here. If you want to change the column title to whatever we want, we said we should change the pay type ID to employee status, and that's what we have right here. So if you look at the title, it changed it to employee status. So you can always tweak this. If you want to change this to where the age is greater than right here, and then let's try and run that to see what we get. Of course, the information is going to change. The first one we had here was Marco, and then iron. So let's go back and change it to see if it returned the same thing. So I changed it back to less than. So let's run that query again. So it's now John Young. Remember when we had the greater than 50, we had Marco, and now less than 50, we have John. So you can always tweak it. Once you have this information, this will guide you as to what you want to do. So once you get all this done, this is going to serve as your project. Trust me, you can use this as your project. You can tweak the information you're looking for in that database. And let's try and look at two more before I end this video. So we want to list all the employees with the names starting with J and O from the employees table. And the syntax is to select everybody DBO, employees, where employees, first name, like. So if you want to retrieve something with the starting letter, you're going to use like to bring it out. And then you're going to open parentheses, the bracket, and quote it, inverted comma, put that alphabet. If it is just J, you put only J. If it just J-O, put J-O, whatever alphabet, and you put the percentage sign at the back of that bracket to retrieve that information. Let's run it to see what we're going to get. So we have this. So you can see all the people that we got, that their names are starting from J. You can see J-O, J-U, J-O, J, 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 like so. So that's how it is. You can also tweak this. Let's change this to only O. Let's see what we get. I remove the J from the query. Let's execute that. So we have only two people with their first name. Remember, we said first name, starting with O. So you see, only two people. So if we tweak this again and change it to B, let me change it to B and see all of them be here. So that's how to do that. Let's look at one or two more. I'm going to change this back to JO. So I just need you to understand how it is done. So we want to see all the employees with the age less than 25 and they are female. So we want to find all the employees. We're retrieving their first name. We are retrieving their last name, their age, their gender. As you can see here, the last name comes first. It's going to retrieve your information based on the order that you have arranged them. So the first one we wanted to retrieve is the last name. We said the next one should be first name. We said the next one should be age. The next one should be gender. We are retrieving this for information from the employee table where the employee's age is less than 25 and their gender is female. So it's going to retrieve only information of employees with ages less than 25 and they are female. That's the only thing you're going to get from your output. So let's run that to see what comes up. So as you can see, we said less than 25. So we have all the people here in the table below less than 25. You can see from here. And then they are all female. So you can go ahead and tweak this. We can change this to male. Let's see. And you can continue to add and remove. You can see we have all the males here. So we can change that back to female. So we run it again. Let's execute that. Okay, so that's it. So try and copy all the queries in SQL Server and then you can run it, right? It's just like I should be running the queries and not stopping. Okay, so here we want to find the top 10 records from the employee table. So we say select top 10. Remember to put asterisk so that you can retrieve all the information from the employee table. Let's execute that. So it gave me only 10. So this is the syntax for it. The language is the same. The syntax is always the same. It's just the information that you're changing. And we say select top 10 from employee salary. We are ordering them by their salary. So it's going to select them by salary. Let's run that. So we just got 10 and then you see from top all the way down. Top 10 from the highest down. So we said top 10. So if you want to list the youngest employee in the company, so we say select top 1 from employee. We are ordering them by date of birth. Remember, we want to find the youngest. So we are going to use the date of birth. Let's run that. So we selected, let me show you the syntax. Select top 1, that's the youngest, from the employees table, order by the employee's date of birth in descending order. So we selected top 1. So it's going to return only one person because we said the youngest. So we have Madison Lee and she's just 17. She's probably the youngest in the company. So this is the syntax to get that. If you want to know the employee with the highest salary in the company, so we are going to select the top 1 from the employee's salary. That's the table. We're ordering them by the salary. So let's run that. So we remember we're trying to see only one person with the highest salary. So let's run that. And that's this person. So you can continue to add to this. If you want to know the name of that person, you can add that to this, right? And because here we are picking from only the salary table, we can join this with employee ID, because these two tables, employee salary and employee table, has the employee ID. So it's going to inner join them to bring out the name of the employee and also any other information you want to find out about this person. So you can get all the information by joining, using the employee ID, because that's the unique identifier between the two tables. So yes, so that's basically it. If you want to know the employee with the lowest salary in the company, select top one. From employee salary, we are ordering by the salary. So remember, the first one we did was the highest. This is the lowest, and this is the information about that person. So you can keep going on and on and on and on. So the last one we said, if you want to add a new person, so you're going to use, if you're adding someone into an already existing database, you're going to use insert into. That is the command that you're going to use. So want to insert into the employees table. So what are we inserting into the employee table? We are putting the first name and the last name, and then what do we want to put? What's the name? What's the first name and the last name that we want to put? That is going to be that name. I used my name, Miriam. So let's execute that. So it has added that already. You can see that one row is affected. So if you want to see what we did, let's see if it worked. So if you want to see if Miriam Adeyemi was successfully added to the database, you can use this syntax. So select all from employees table, where employee's first name is equal to Miriam and the employee's last name is equal to Adeyemi. So let's see if what we just added is there. You can see it's there. So those are the two things that we added. We didn't put every other information. That's why we're saying no. It's empty. That's why it is null. So the only thing we put is just Miriam Adeyemi, and that's why it is showing. So yes, that's just about it. Just copy all the query. I think I almost ran through all of them. Just copy the query and then try and run them and save them as your project. And that's your project. So here we said, if you want to know the employee with the department ID, that is 4. So just run the query. Yes. And if you want to know the one that is not 4, you're going to use not in. So we're selecting from department, that's the table, where department ID is not in. So this is like a subquery, right? It's a query within a query. So this one is a query on itself. So if we say select all from department, where department ID, okay, so this is not complete. So if we pick select all from department, so this is going to return this for us. This is everything we have in that table. So we now said where the department ID is not in 4, is not 4. So here, if we run this particular query, it's going to give us only the one that is 4, because that's what we said, right? You see that we should select department ID from department where department ID is 4. But if we say that not in, like it's not in 4, we run that together, the query and the subquery. So it's going to give us all the department ID except 4. As you can see, we don't have 4 in this department ID column because we said that is not in 4. That is not 4. But what we did there, we use a query within a query. So a query within a query, that's subquery. They can run independently. We can run this one independently if we execute that, and we can run this independently. So be sure that your query is correct. So you see that, because if we run this together, we're going to get error. We're going to get error, you see, because it's not complete. But if we run a complete query like this, select all from department, which is the table, it brought everything in that department. And we can run the two together, select all from department where department ID is not 4. And then we have all the ones that are not 4, like so. So that's basically it. Go ahead and keep practicing, keep trying, keep getting your hands dirty, tweaking all this query. I think this syntax that I sent can help you, navigate your way around. Save it, and then if you have any database that you want to play with aside this one, you can use this particular one to run your own query using this as sample or cheat, to run whatever you want to run. Thank you very much. Let me know if you have any question. Bye-bye.